and I also see fire in my vision. And then around my heart, there's like this, there's coldness. I don't enjoy things. I don't love things. I just want to run away.
Who is around your heart to forbidden you to feel love and connection? Opening the heart is learning how to soften, because you can feel the other people through your heart. To feel the love and the disconnection is go together. If you accept it, you don't need this entity, because this entity is there for you to not suffer. Some people say, but you are the worst space holder that I never see in the life, in the world. Yes, because they say 60 or 30 people hating, loving, all at the same time. But I feel the energy of them inside of me, and I see also, and I feel inside of me, if it's one person that is not controlling their own emotions, it's a different feeling. So in this case, if I feel this insecurity inside, I stop everybody.
Welcome to another episode of the Spiritual Bypassers podcast. Today was, I think, one of the most special ones ever. We had Angello here, our amazing guest, who has very special gifts that he will show you in this episode. So first we talk about what he calls the creator's game, something he created, a modality that goes beyond what you've ever learned about healing or enlightenment work. And we will talk about it, explain what can happen there. And then he sends Tim into a deep process, and you can feel with us, you can be with us, you can love with us, and you can probably take so much out of it for yourself as well. So stay tuned, listen carefully, listen with love, listen with responsibility, take responsibility for the judgments and the projections that come up. And then this is pure gold. So enjoy this episode. Lovely to have you here. Welcome to this episode of the Spiritual Bypassers podcast. Today is a very special one because we're not only the three of us, Tim, Ashley, and me, Jannick, but we have an amazing, wonderful, exciting, magical guest today here. And his name is Angello. And Angello, this is the first time we have a guest on our podcast, so I'm really excited to have you as our first guest. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm also excited to be with these beautiful three people here.
Yes. Me too. And the first question I would like to ask you is, because we all know you from something that is probably one of the most crazy healing modalities that I've ever experienced in my life.
Me too.
You too? Okay. Which is called the creator's game. And I have so many questions, but maybe we start with what is the creator's game and what do you do in the creator's game? And I know there's probably a million ways to reply to this, but maybe you just follow your intuition, and then we will explore what else interests us about this amazing modality that you do.
Creator's game is a game of all creators, and maybe finally the game of the big creator.
Okay. The game of the big creator.
It's how to discover our abilities to teach ourselves through processing. And is more than just a relief, is a kind of core, how to find the core of ourselves to be our own teachers. Mm-hmm. So we learn the tools how to be our own teachers and to bring what I say is a concrete spirituality in an everyday life. It's mean we spend 99% of our time outside of the workshops, how to bring this spirituality outside.
Okay. And maybe to give people like an idea of what happens there. I mean, I can just maybe share what I remember. And what I remember was I came into a big group of people and you were there, standing there, explaining the game. I didn't understand anything in the beginning. You were talking about an emotions map where, at some point we would share what emotions are present inside of us in the moment. Then there was like, you told us there will be a group process, and you will understand later once we start playing the game. And then eventually we did start playing the game, and all of a sudden, like a few moments later, people were connected to past life experiences. Someone was birthing a child, someone else was raping somebody, and the devil was present, Jesus was there. And people started to really connect to some certain kind of consciousness there that was not present before, that somehow came into the space. I don't know if you have anything to do with it or not, but yeah, like how does this happen? Like how do people come together? And then some people might call it channeling, some people might call it intuition, or getting into a higher state of consciousness. How does this work? And how does this help people to, like you said, become the creator?
So you were surprised how quick the people open. Me also. And this is why I needed 30 years to try to understand what I am doing. And it's opened so much. Then I try to understand the beauty of the energy. And what I understand more and more is that everything is energy, everything is frequencies. And when I tune to my eternal love, then I vibrate sometimes, not always, unfortunately. But when I am in this state of bliss, the people look to me and suddenly they begin to open. And once I was in a workshop, it was 90 people, and in 10 minutes, it was 10 people or 20 people in past life processing. And it was crazy because after I saw an image, then 10 people was really in anxiety. And I say, okay, stop everything, just 3 process at a time. So for the mind to understand. So what is Creator's Game is to embrace everything that come up and give them, each one of them, the place to get birth to themselves through the knowledge of their own soul. And why the people open so much? Because they tune to a frequency where suddenly they trust, they feel, then they can do it, and suddenly everything come up. And is if you send freedom and if you send love to somebody, you think that they're gonna love you back. No, they jump in and the worst thing that they have inside to liberate it. And after they understand and they begin to shine. So I was surprised by this processing. So this is why I needed 30 years to understand what love makes. If you give love, the people begin to express. And for me, I spend also a lot of times to understand. And now I make the online course because I begin to understand a little bit better how it's working. So the map of Creator's Game is a map for us to communicate through the energy, not through the mind. The mind is on service of the energy, and suddenly, wow, we understand everything if you focus in the energy. Mm-hmm. Energy is emotions, what is connecting to us, and that's the key.
Mm-hmm. And I have one more question before I also want to bring in these two guys. That is, what does it mean for you to give love? Because you have maybe a very different definition and way of giving love to the people than other people might think of love.
So we make it really the difference between love and sex. Making love is making the energy of love, is creating the energy of love. We need absolutely to separate sex and love. Usually people say, oh, I love you is related to sex. And people who don't go to this high processing, they assimilate it. So the word love is connected with maybe rape, abuse, or possession, or marriage. So you need to replace love. Then love is a vibration. Then is a 2 times 360 degrees. Is go to expansion. And when you focus to the other person with this expansion, is give allowance for the other person to be yourself, because you are not directing. Is a kind of unconditional love. Even if you have you need help the other person, but you need totally to surrender, to allow the other person to go in a direction that she wants. As soon as you have all securities and respect, just let go. And we go in a processing. Processing is giving birth to ourselves. So it's freedom of a soul. Because in this moment, the person just received love, and unconsciously she knows that she's loved. So one fear after the other one, they go through, and that's make a process. We go like a trampoline, go down. More you go down to the sufferings, past lives, and everything, more you go up to a kind of enlightenment and bliss processing.
Yeah, beautiful. And what really resonates with me is also the word trust. Like, that's what changed for me when I was participating in the game. Was before I was in doubt, And you said this one sentence, you can only see what you don't doubt, right? Or what you don't judge. I think that's what you said. You can only see what you don't judge. And then it kicked to me, and I was like, yes, of course. Because if I judge, I can't trust within. I can't trust what comes up. But if I stop doubting, which is something needs a lot of courage, you need to be really brave to stop doubting, because there's all different ways you learned how to doubt. And then you stop doubting, you trust, and then the things come up. And you're like, it's all there. It's already been there, but I doubted, I judged. So I didn't let it out. And you go into this state of full trust, and you see somebody else like in the full process of being this like woman who gives birth, and you just trust, yes, this is it. And what resonates in me, in my body now, which is maybe, oh, I am the one who raped her because and she didn't want it, and now this is my child. You feel it inside, so you know it's true. In this moment, there's a reason why you feel it, and you trust it, and you go with it, and you give it to the space, and then you enable somebody else to also be authentic and trust themselves. And I feel like this is also something that was happening in the game, is this like, I trust, then give you permission to trust, give you permission to trust, and everybody trusts, and you become this communal process then.
Yeah, this trust become a faith, but not a blind faith that you believe in external saviors, is through these 4,000 past lives and enlightenment processing that people was living in the creator's game. On the beginning, I was afraid, like everybody, what I have to do with this. But now, each time I understand the reasons why the people had to go through the incarnations and suffer this, and in a lower karma, you kill one life, and because you've been killed another time, or you are a killer. So these past lives go together. You've been killed because you killed. And when I have so much trust, and this is not blind faith, but a real faith from how many amounts of process, then it was right to live. So now, even before the process is resolved, I stay in this love energy, and that accelerates the process. More I trust, more I love, more, yeah. And after my mind will understand later.
Yeah.
On the moment, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm focused about security and respect from everybody. And some people say, but you are the worst space holder that I never see in the world. Yes, because they say 60 or 30 people hating, loving, all at the same time. So in their point of view, they're right. But I feel the energy of them inside of me, and I see also, and I feel inside of me, if it's one person that is not controlling their own emotions, it's a different feeling. So in this case, if I feel this insecurity inside, I stop everybody. First security, respect, and after, past lives can wait a little bit more longer. Yeah. So it's no emergency. So we go back again to security. So this is why now in the groups, I give priority to everybody can stop. If they feel that something is not respectful and security, they can stop all the group.
Yeah.
So, and it's beautiful. And I'm learning a lot. This is why I do this job, because even this morning in giving help to people to understand what is projections, with my students, two persons get in a kind of enlightenment process in a restaurant in front of a sea, in the middle of plenty of people, music and everything. And they was amazed, like, how can we do this here? Because I am with them, but if I feel an energetical attack from the people who are around, I will stop them, because you are not feel safe. You need to have love for this processing. But it's strange here in Copenhagen. That's totally normal, and that's really amazing to be here.
Yeah, I can imagine that. What comes up for you guys as you are listening to Angello sharing about the process and the game?
To me, there's a few things coming up. What also resonated in me was the topic of trust and the topic of self-love, because I feel trust and self-love are sort of misrepresented. People talk about trust and self-love, but I feel like in New Age circles, most people don't know how hard and how dark things can get when we really step into love, self-love, or love of one another, and trust. Because I don't, for example, when we talk about trust, I don't fully trust myself because I haven't fully discovered all of the darkness that is within me. I have moments in relationship and also in relationship to myself where I'm sometimes really baffled or like put off by the voices that are coming up inside of me, and I'm like, how can I trust myself if sometimes in a conflict, for example, parts of me are taking over that are violent, hostile, and that just want to fight and create conflict. And that is also the bridge to love. Is love oftentimes is seen as this thing, this relationship qualities that is there when everything is going well and people are like lovely, bubbly, and whatever. But can I love myself? Can I be accepting and conscious of myself and others, even when they are displaying hostility, violence, if they're rejecting me or whatever? So I feel like even if people talk about unconditional love, I think it's not often enough talked about how hard it actually is to really love someone. And I think the places that you open, Angelo, are so
That was
incredible
interesting.
because they, huh? What?
You were gone for a moment, but how hard it actually is what you said, right? To be unconditionally loving with your dark parts as well.
With the dark parts, and what I love about the containers that Angelo you put up is that I got to really rediscover what love and acceptance really feels like, because it's actually just like you said, love is this container that opens, and the more it's expanding, the more darkness can also be felt in that naturally. And that is pretty amazing to me. And I learned so much from you. It's quite remarkable. We did 2 workshops together, and your skill of reading people through the energies that are present. I'm a skeptic. I'm a pretty heady person, and I need to be convinced before I believe something. And since I met you, my attunement with my energetic body has become so much better, because I can I started to listen to the energy that is behind the words rather than the words that's being said, and this has, like, in my coaching work and also in my relationship, changed like everything for me. It's been pretty remarkable, and as I said, once that door is opened, there's also a lot of darkness that wants to be embraced that is showing up. So it's not a walk in the park, really. And this is also your workshops are a mix of a lot of love and a lot of positive feelings and that, but also processing and darkness. And it's amazing how these go together and are not contradicting.
Yeah. I also want to add in, because essentially what we're doing in Angelo's workshop is also what we're doing when we're giving emotional release sessions. It's like you're providing that safe container of complete non-judgment, and the presence of somebody being there with an open heart is the thing that then gives permission for the really dark, icky, shadowy parts to arise, to be seen, to be loved, and to do something with that, to transmute it into whatever wants to come after that. Doesn't mean that they always leave straight away, but that they're at least feeling like they're allowed to come to the surface. Yeah, I love hearing about this. What I'm curious also is, because I was at the first creators game we did with emotional releases, even though I was more as the organizing side, and you taught us something that was then became an intricate part of the curriculum, and also what we've talked about a lot on this podcast is resonance. Like, this word was not really bouncing around until you joined us for the first training. So you also use certain terms that I think could be really nice to talk about waving in, waving out, what that looks like, because there's a lot of people listening who might be more beginners or more new to a lot of these concepts, maybe haven't gone to Copenhagen yet. If you're on the video, you'll see the beautiful outfit that Angelo is wearing. And maybe they really need explaining in like very simple terms, because I think this waving in, waving out, and resonance is useful for everybody in all moments. And I'm curious to hear more from you about that.
So inside of us, we have one tool that is used in two different ways. The personal path is still in a kind of, I feel that it's much better than to judge other people. I feel is I'm responsible at 50%. I'm not attacking the other person, but I don't say that I'm a creator. So I'm feel 50% responsible. Creator's game is go to 100% self-responsible. So whatever happened from the outside, whatever event is, I'm creating my emotions. So it's very important to know that when I create my emotions, I wave out. So I send the energy from other people and I speak about energy. But we are in this tool that is in two directions. I can also feel emotions, energies that is from other people. That's what we say, clairsentience. So when I say that I feel something that is come from somebody else, I say I wave. Wave is energy in. It means it's come from you. And we are using all the time this I wave out, I'm responsible. I wave in, it's come from you. And I estimate what I perceive from you, and sorry if it's not right, because I need more and more to express this waving to see if what I perceive from you is right. On the beginning, it was 9 times of 10 then I was wrong. And now is 99.9 what I perceive. And what I perceive from other person, it give access to the processing. And is through this waving, this fusion with our person, then we feel what our person is feeling inside. And in developing this waving, we are feeling more what our person is feeling inside of himself. Because if the other person is angry or resentment or is in trouble, if he still have this problematic, it's because he didn't want to see it. So we need each others to say, oh, maybe is here something? So we try to say, oh, is there some vibration in the air? And after step by step, we are reading the energy of each other's is not a judgment, is an estimation if I say it with energy of love. If I see something, anger in somebody, but if I am angry myself, that's a projection. So we need to make the difference between estimation and judgment or projections. And like this, you begin to communicate to each other and you begin to have the ability to weave in and to become clairsentient. We are already clairsentient, but we don't know. So when somebody say me something and I feel bad, maybe it's the energy of my neighbor. And so this energy of the neighbor, I feel inside bad, but if I don't know I received from somebody else, my judgment, my mind, my monkey mind will make an interpretation that is not really connected with myself. So you really need to make the difference between wave out and wave in to not be manipulated from the lowest energy from the group, because we are working in a kind of safety mode, in a survival mode. One person is angry, everybody say, shut down, shut down, shut down. It's dangerous because the dominant animal can hit you or you're going to be attacked. So if you don't have this awareness, then we are clear feelers, and everybody is. You need now to bring to the consciousness to not be self-manipulated. So this is why it's so important. And these words didn't exist. So we're creating them because you are using all the time these two tools. I wave out, I'm 100% responsible. I wave in is a perception, is not a judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. And honestly, it's been nearly coming up to 2 years since we met you from the first one, and it gave me such an incredible example of as a whole, like a leader of a group when I'm doing my retreats or doing even a sitting circle, to really tune in more to this like energy vacuum of maybe that one person in the group that's not speaking the truth, and then you feel like I'd never seen the lived example of how do you sense where there's the tension in the group and that one person that's like pulling everything down, and then I'm like, why is the energy so stuck? And I really got to witness this in firsthand, and the audacity of yourself to be like, you need to leave for a bit, or like, what's going on here? You okay? Well, either you leave or I leave. That was my favorite moment on our workation when you're just like, well, I'm not going to hold this space, facilitate this if you're going to be like this. So either you leave or I leave, and then the whole group won't get their process. And it was like this battle, but it was so needed, and it was so part of that process. But to really learn to not have to be a pushover as a holder of a container, and to yeah, it was just great. It's like so many funny stories of this that I have in my memory as well. So thank you.
First, we are clear feelers, and more we open ourselves, more our gifts open. And one moment I feel is general from the group, but after we begin to have the vision, we begin to see the energy. So if I look around and I see who is vibrating with energy, so I have double information. And after it became a tool of decision. For example, if this person is vibrating resentment since the beginning, I saw it since the beginning. I was giving him many chances, and one moment I say, I don't want to be attacked because you believe that I am a fucking guru and I need to be killed on the cross. Okay, so one moment I need to take a decision, or you go to process, or you transform, or you liberate that in a group to say to everybody how much I am a manipulator, for example, or how much I'm bad. And so you give this information to all the group. But if you hold back, we have this energy, then at each moment I can attack you, and I feel it inside. How can I be free to share my deep wounds if I'm not feel in safety? That's energetical safety.
Yeah, I love this. It's so amazing. It's like, reminds me of the sentence, the truth is highly sensational. And using our bodies as instruments to sense the truth and then we learn how to interpret it. Is it waving in? Is it waving out? Do I create it? And we take responsibility. And this like the barrier is usually shame, fear, right? Maybe guilt as well. It's like this person is too ashamed to share, and so you perceive it as resentment. Actually, it might be anger, but it's not coming out as anger. So it's not coming out as what it truly is, because the kind of like the shame is in the way, and not even the shame is being communicated. So the person could also say, I'm too ashamed to share it. I'm not brave enough. I can't. And then the whole energy changes again, because somebody is speaking the truth. Somebody is again being like vulnerable in front of the group and just sharing truth. And you always go one layer deeper. And then once they say this, they can say, oh, actually, now I get really sad. For the first time, I get seen sharing my shame. Okay. And process is happening. So for me, it's vulnerability. It's one of the things I wrote big in my journal after the game, was like, vulnerability is king. It's always, where is the next level of vulnerability? That's the opposite of stuckness in this group process.
Yeah. I would like to say about truth. Truth in creators game is when you put the words that correspond to the energy that we are vibrating inside. That's the truth. Okay. There's many different truths, but is when you put the words that correspond to your energy, and suddenly is a liberation, and this energy gonna continue to move to the next sphere, next process. And after we feel read really the energy, and you put the words for the person, wow, open, because sometimes she feel shame or guilty to say it, but if she hears the words that correspond to the energy that she's vibrating inside, it's a kind of relief, because the shame and blame is taking away, because somebody say it with love. So that's how the process goes, is energy, words, energy, words. Energy inside of the word is a box, then allow the brain to manage before to take a decision in this concrete world. So here in creators game, we sometimes you put the brain in holiday to go to process, but at the end, we try to analyze what's happened. You go back to the mental to take the decisions, and just the decisions and action and challenge change you, not just the consciousness.
Yeah. So I want to know from you, Tim, because we were also talking about going into maybe like going into a process with any of us, or like even like maybe starting with sensing the energy of the group and also playing a bit. And Tim shared earlier that there was some darkness inside of him, and it's like to unconditionally love, you need to go to that darkness. And I was kind of like sensing, for example, I mean, I can just like openly share like what I sensed was like it was coming from a kind of like a place of the mind, and it was not so much like connected to the actual darkness, because of course we are in a podcast situation, and we also like aware of how vulnerable do we want to be in this podcast situation. And me also, I'm having a part right now being active that I'm calling out Tim, and I'm like putting the energy and the awareness now on Tim. But at the same time, as I share this and as I say this, already the energy in the group changes again. So yeah, I just want to like pass the ball to you, Tim, and see how that resonated with you, that what I just shared.
Totally. Like, I agree with that. I listened to myself talking, and I could feel there was this excitement that was bubbling up and getting me into my head. And I had a hard time even listening to myself. But as you said, I'm in a podcast situation, and I felt this need to, okay, I need to finish that thought now, which put me like in a place of, oh, fuck. I have this thought, which already feels weird, but oh my God, I just can't stop talking here. It's a podcast, so I gotta somehow push through and squeeze myself through this kind of weird energy. And usually, what I do in podcasts is that I use that and I just say it out loud. So I dismantle how I'm feeling in that moment, like I just did. But today, I have a hard time doing that because, as you also observed, right, I'm in a not so regulated spot right now, and I'm more prone to get into my head. So that you were spot on, actually, and I would assume that in the listeners, maybe some of you had a hard time listening to me as well. Like it's really fascinating when you start listening to the energy behind someone speaking. You start to maybe drift off when that person is not aligned with their heart. It's like, oh, I have a really hard time listening. I'm thinking of something else, or it's just boring. It's not. There's no soul behind that, and I was feeling that for myself to some degree as well. Yeah.
How does that land for you? Or what would you want to say to him?
So, what I was listening previously is the fear of to show our entities and our devil parts. So I can make a sharing about this that maybe can make you a little bit more comfortable, and I share that to everybody who want to listen. And sometimes I would like to say to the people, this podcast is a conditional podcast. If you are responsible at 100% for yourself, you can continue to listen to me. But if you use this podcast to react and to hurt other people, why continue to listen this? Okay, so it's for people who are self-responsible and believe that one day the world will be united, not because they believe the same thing, but because they love the difference of the thinking of each person. And for example, I had a thinking about devil that was the Christian way. Devil is bad. Devil make hurt other people. Is darkness and punishment and everything. So it's what I was believing until 15 years after to start my personal path. And sometimes, or many times, I've been in a workshop of creators game, and Jesus came to me, or other states of consciousness, and I was sending waves of love and people going process. It's crazy beautiful. And after 15 years of work, and this became to come devil, like and during 2 years it was devil, 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 and I was really fed up on it until two situations happened, because the spirituality that I teach today is a spirituality that my students was teaching to me. It's through the processing that I make my own opinion, because I didn't believe in anybody. I was Okay, I had a bad father in a way. So for me, authorities, gurus, and everything is like to throw away. So it's the processing, and the people was teaching me this by the experience. And so when devil came, I was plenty of judgment, but I let it do it inside of me. And one day, suddenly this devil came inside of me, a lot of anger. But so at the time is if the leader of the game is not in love, he need to give the leadership to somebody else to protect the group. So is what I did. So I stepped back, but during Alpha I was like in this. So I had one person that was holding space for me, and me, I was listening the other process and was around. And the other process, apparently, it was really good. And after what I begin to do in letting go what the energy wants to do, I begin to eat the other person like it's like crazy, or in the chest like this. And after it was finished, but the person made a sharing afterwards. After I did this, the person was like a kind of explosion of the heart, and he went to the sky. He had a huge tunnel open above, the hands going up, and he said, "What am I gonna do with it?" So the hand was condensing the energy of light. He bring it like a ball in his hand, and it's what I do with it. And he was sending this ball to somebody else, and the other person go in process of enlightenment. And I say, "Wow, it's strange." Okay, that's begin to say maybe something happened when I was doing this to him. That maybe I cleaned something, and the person straight away open up. But I begin to be a little bit more soft with this devil. It's okay. Maybe it's some useful. And the second time I was in a festival, a person had a process with somebody else. And suddenly it came an energy of, again, this devil. And I was projecting in letting do it always. I was allowing my mouth to project inside of his body and begin to eat the art. Okay, my personality say, "Fuck, I'm not gonna authorize that," but I let it go because it was one very advanced person of the group. And as soon as my teeth go inside of this heart, the devil make and I say, "What's strange?" And what I understood is the heart of the other person was so pure that the devil could not stand it. And after I begin to understand, wow, devil is there to clean the darkness. And devil is the master of the darkness. They bring them home in a kind of hell where they continue to exist. Because if Jesus come and the beams of light come, they are dissolved as entities. And they go to a kind of enlightenment, but they cease to exist as an entity, as an individuality. What is your card of your entity card? It means what you represent. So when you have an entity, it means you have a personality. What's the personality is, or many times you say no to something. So you separate from all the allness that exists.
Yeah.
And if the entities go to enlightenment, they are so afraid. So they prefer the devil comes. And from this day, I make a peace with devil. Because I was intoxicated by the point of view of devil of a church. So
the devil he brings the corrupted souls home, like where they want to go actually.
Yeah.
Because the dark entities, they don't want to be in the heaven. They want to be in their home in the
they are afraid.
underworld. Yeah, that makes so
they
much
don't
sense.
want to go there. For them, it's dissolving.
Yeah. Wow, I got some shivers there. That was powerful.
So it's for you to embrace them, and we made contracts with them in past lives for them to give our special powers. But these entities, they evaluate much slower than us. So they give us powers for us to learn this power from inside. And when you evaluate it, you don't need them anymore, but they want to be recognized. So you need to speak with them, and maybe they are also afraid to go to enlightenment. So, and when I work with them, I don't decide to take them out I just embrace and happened what's happened. But some of them are really stubborn. So it's come a sword of the sky and say, sorry guys, you're not respecting the rules of the house of this person. This person, his body is his house, his rules to respect. If you are discovered, the game is over for you. That's it.
So what I woke up to today and what my process was yesterday, and it's linking nicely to that thing. I think I'm curious as to what you say to that. Is that I have a tendency to go into burnout energy where I work a lot, and to cure my working too much, I think, oh, I have to work even more to work to feel even better, and I feel like I'm driven by this part that is like, that is nourished by this feeling of darkness.
Success is tiredness. That speaks to you?
Success is
Tiredness. You need to be tired.
tired.
I don't know why I say that. It's when you are tired, it's mean you did enough. Before you get tired, something need to push you until to get tired to be satisfied. So it's something that is running in you. If my words are exact, then it's something to look to this. If you want to close your eyes and to see if these two words exist. I need to be tired to rest before I can.
Yes.
I don't have the right.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Feel it.
That's yeah. Need to be tired to rest.
Express everything. It's like you are not allowed to stop before you are exhausted. Where has come from? Freedom of the soul. Say whatever comes.
And feel a coldness in my heart, and like it's clenching, and it's getting cold in this space. And in my vision, I have a part. I see someone with a whip, like whipping me from behind. And
Okay, continue.
in the physical world, it's actually true. I have a hard time resting during the day because I'm working so much and I'm doing other things, and then I get really exhausted in the evening until it feels like collapsing.
Yeah, go inside of this
And it
energy.
feels also peaceful because I'm like, oh, that's my body is now sleep, so I can't do anything more right now. My body is deciding that we need rest now, but it's already too late, so to speak.
Yeah. Who is commanding you to do this inside of yourself? It's a kind of command.
There's like a energy, like it almost feels like a fire that's starting from my feet and my legs coming up, and I also see fire in my vision, and then around my heart there's like this there's coldness, and I feel like this fire wants me
Continue.
to
Go inside of it.
move. Like I also have restless leg, for example. I'm constantly moving my legs, and I feel like I'm constantly moving in my life, and all this movement is producing heat, but it's warming up. It's warming up, but it doesn't reach my heart. Like whatever I run from and whatever I run towards, all the things that I do, they're not reaching my heart. Like my heart is still cold. I don't enjoy things. I don't love things. I just want to run away.
Who is around your heart to forbidden you to feel love and connection? What is in around your heart? Behind on the left side of your heart. Pretty.
There's a part that says no.
Yes.
It's like you don't You don't touch that.
Let this.
You don't touch that.
Who say that? Let him speak.
He says, I'm guarding what's most precious in you, and I won't let anything come through.
Continue. Let him speak.
And the fire is burning within you, but I won't let that fire burn what's in your heart. And I hate that. I hate that burning. I hate that. It wants to destroy, it wants to take what's precious within us.
Let this entity speak.
Whenever you try something, I'm making you fail. Whenever you try something, I'm making you fail. Whatever you do, I'm gonna make you feel like you're failing at it, so you don't do it.
When, long time ago, you made a contract with this entity to protect you. Long, long time ago. Very ancient.
I can see someone is writing on a pergament, like on a very old piece of paper with a feather. And it's candlelight,
Yes.
and it's on a wooden table. It's like secret in the night. And it's like, it feels like it's something like a fake fake ID, fake passport, fake document, something that will help me survive. Like a lie that, like I'm lying to myself, like a lie, like a not truth that makes me survive. And then I'm running with that. And I'm leaving everything behind. I'm leaving the ones I love behind. I'm leaving all of my life behind because I need to survive. And I look at my house, it's in the forest. Look at my house, there's like a fire burning inside. It's very cozy. And I look at this and I know that I sort of have to leave this behind.
Why you needed to leave it behind? What was the obligation?
I did something wrong and I need to escape because someone is chasing me, and I need to escape. And this document that I signed is sort of my ticket or something, like a fake ID. And now I need to be undercover and I need to start a new life where nobody knows me.
And why you made a contract with this entity? Because
Because he told me to. And I trust him. But I'm also not fully, like, I'm also suspicious. I also don't know, like, I'm so desperate. I'm like, okay, if this will keep me alive, I'm gonna do it, but I don't know if it will work.
Yeah, I sense he did something wrong. He's guilty of something, so he needs this contract. He did something wrong.
Yeah, it's like something like like the police or whatever is chasing me, and there's this contract, this piece of paper that is my new identity or something. But
What
in
did you
order to survive, I have to run. I have to leave immediately, very sudden.
What did you do wrong?
Take your time to feel it.
What comes up is like sexual energy and also like pleasure, laughing. Like maybe I laughed in the wrong moment and
You hurt someone with your pleasure.
yeah, but it's also unjust. It's like I heard the law or something. I was laughing at the king, something like that. Or laughing in the wrong moment, or spöttisch, like I was disrespecting someone with my pleasure, with my laughter, or with my sexuality, something like that. Like something that is very life-giving and very beautiful caused me to run away. And I also can feel that in my current life where there's not a lot of pressure and a lot of like running, chasing kind of this energy.
What comes to me is you accept this entity to close your heart because the suffering of the separation, maybe with your family and kids, was too painful. So in closing your heart, it's like closing the pain of the connection, of a disconnection.
Yeah. And now I also realize in that there's a lot of love. I feel like it's the heart is like a box where the family is contained, and I'm closing it so it stays here. But I won't open it because letting go of the sadness would mean letting go of the connection to them. The sentence that comes up is, I love my family. I love my family.
Now you have a decision to take. If you really want to connect to the feeling of love, you need to accept to suffer from love. Let's go together.
I need to accept to suffer from love.
Yes, opening the heart is learning how to suffer because you can feel the other people through your heart. To feel the love and the disconnection is go together. If you accept it, you don't need this entity anymore because this entity is there for you to not suffer about the lack of love, of separation. If you take
But
this
I need
entity
to,
away,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Say again.
So when I open my heart and I put the armor around my heart away, it means that my heart is vulnerable and someone can attack it, and that's the truth.
Yes, but you're gonna
And I
feel
can
the
either choose to have an armor, but that means I will never have that connection, or I can let go of the armor and let in real connection, but that means I have to live also with pain.
you need to accept the both parts of a love. You can love again, but it also can suffer from not being loved. Both go together. And if you embrace the two parts, you don't need any more this protection of this entity that I feel that is behind your heart. Is there to protect you. But if you accept to reopen your heart, you're gonna feel everything. And you feel the connection and you can really recreate the connection. It's your choice.
Yes. I have this image that I'm now with 2 feet on the ground, and beyond, like below me, there's the underworld, and above me there's heaven, and I'm in between that. And I tried to get into heaven. I tried to act as if life is like can be perfect and there's no suffering in there. But to be with 2 feet on the ground means to also walk on the underworld, and to accept that. To accept that I have like all the parts of me that want to be hurtful, that are violent, that other people have these parts, and not to be naive, but to be courageous and opening my heart, to be daring to trust people, and also knowing that they have like that they can hurt me. They don't know what's inside of them. Nobody knows that. Everybody acts like they're this good person, but they all have a darkness in them, and I can feel that, and I'm trying to not look at that. And that's what this entity is protecting me from.
Can I say my perception is like,
Yeah,
in connecting to you, it's opened the portal to the sky, to the heaven. At the same time, then is a connection to the hell, and you are in the middle
yeah,
of both. It
exactly.
speaks to you.
Yeah. That's exactly what I just said. It's like a connection that comes from down through my body, out of my feet, like out of my lower body. I don't know if it's feet or anus, into the underworld.
Okay. So what you do now with the entity then is behind your heart. What you're gonna do it? You can speak to her.
Hmm. I wanna thank you for trying. Like I want to see you and trying to protect me. I can see that. I can value that. And I also want you to know that I'm ready to open my heart and to live with the consequences of that. And I can see and appreciate how you wanted to protect me from pain. But I need you to know that in protecting me from pain, you created pain. And I can either choose to be protected by you and feel pain, or open my heart and feel a lot of love and also pain. So I'm asking you if you could stay two steps back. And I announce that you will be if you agree with that, you will be the guardian and the master of the underworld. And you will from now on help me integrate my dark energies and meet the dark energies of others and be conscious of that and aware of that they exist. And now the entity is sort of touched. It's a bit strange to see like this underworld creature with tears in its eyes, but it feels it's valued, and it can also just stay in the energy that it wants to be in this dark energy, because it doesn't want to be light, it wants to be dark. It just he says thank you, and that he thinks it's a great job to do. It's important, and it makes me an integral man, also someone that is with 2 feet on the earth, connected to the heavens and to the hell, and to the in the middle, overseeing both and not preferring one over the other, but being like with 2 feet on the ground, not in my head all the time, not only in my impulses all the time, but in my heart, which is the center.
Oh.
Oh.
the sentence comes, the king has returned. And I feel very present.
And allow to feel this energy of the king. Feel it and embrace it. No false modesty. You have the right to vibrate the energy of love and expansion.
The king is embracing me. I'm in this cosmic embrace where everything is contained. The darkness, the light, all the physical things, all the subtle things, everything is contained in this embrace. It's pure presence. It's like the King of Kings. It's my heart chakra. It's the earth heart chakra and the cosmic heart chakra, and that's what I'm connected to. Connected to something that is embracing everything, that transcends and includes everything.
Yeah.
And that's the king. That's the ruler. I almost said the one who is ruling the kingdom, but he's not ruling. He's just providing. He's giving blessings, and all I need to do, or he wants me to do, is to tune into that he's giving blessings. He's giving me gifts every day, and to not mistake the darkness or the gift that he gives me for like something bad. Even the entity that I just met, he says, is a gift, is a very kingly, very royal gift that he's giving me, and that's everything in the world. So it feels like I'm held within my body, I'm held by the earth, and I'm held by the cosmos, like a little matushka.
It's beautiful. And allow to shine it. Not just to feel inside, but to shine out. To go with this energy in expansion. Feel, to send this energy. You really feel it, but bring this energy to expansion. And nourish everybody.
Now I can feel also the pain that is in this room, and I have a lot of compassion for Jannick and for Ashley, also for you, Angelo.
Thank you for the energy you sent to us and to me. I highly appreciate and embrace it. Thank you to have opened your heart, your truth, to allow you to be vulnerable, to allow yourself to go over the possible judgment from others, and to embrace your truth, to find yourself, and to radiate love for all of us at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. When I was working with like my burnout and like I whatever burnout is, but when I was working with these energies, they all pointed towards the king. They all pointed like towards spiritual dimensions, because burnout and these symptoms, they're actually like a modern symptom of people who have forgotten the spiritual dimension. And I feel like if there's anything I can do to cure this, to heal this, it means returning to a deeper meaning. And that's what I just did. And the deeper meaning is always the king, is always this cosmic embrace. This this last room, the truth behind the truth behind the truth, or as you, Angelo, say, the god of the god of the god. And at some point, this whole Matrushka is just ending in emptiness. And there I can receive also guidance. It's the emptiness on the felt level in my body, in my perception, and the emptiness that sends me wisdom in my mind. And that travels like up my spine and also into my organs, into my face, and makes everything more colorful and more vibrant and more magical, more enchanted.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tim, for being so brave, and Angelo for showing us what's possible when you follow this intuition, you follow along, you go the path of the love. And I can sense in my body how much courage it takes to be big. And like you said, you don't allow him just to be with the king energy. You say, go into expansion. Like, where's the next layer maybe of shame or fear to be big, and then meet that again and meet that again and meet that again. And it's really inspiring. It's like such a beautiful compass or path. It's like, okay, you are big now. What's in the way? You are pure love. What's in the way? And then you meet what's in the way. And yeah, I found this to be a beautiful example of your process. And thank you so much, Tim, for
Welcome.
being
I
brave here in
feel
our podcast. Yeah.
I feel kind of high now. And a bit so I may have not many words left.
How was it for you, Ashley, to witness the process? What came up for you? Also using your body as the resonance body.
There were definitely moments where I was like, we would need like 3 hours on this call because we could enter into a group process about this of like the resonance or like what's coming in and out. And I was like checking in on myself because I also shared with the boys the state I arrived on the call today, which was maybe a little frustrated or irritated or not feeling fully present. So I was sensing in a lot of like, how much am I able to be into Tim's, to give like unconditional witnessing to Tim, whilst also at certain points I was like, I want to leave, and like dancing between those two energies inside of myself of, like not being in love, basically in the state of love. And at one moment that again, there's like, oh, well, shit, this is a podcast and I'm meant to be here. And then like, where are you overstepping your own boundaries in terms of like, can I really be here in the full pureness versus not? So if we'd been in a room together there and we had the freedom that we have in the creator's game to just come in and say the impulse that's present, at some point there were impulses that were just wanted to be like, Tim, shut up and stop it. And not because that's anything to do with how valid your process is or not, just the energy is present inside of myself today. Yeah, still navigating that aspect. I feel quite tired, but I also was tired before I arrived here. And maybe as a PMSing woman, there's also an entity present there that's trying to arise that wants to say something that is finding conflict with having to do stuff she doesn't want to do. Not to say I don't love you both. Just a big moody bitch. But that's my truth. And yeah, and at the end I could really come back into hearing, and it's there was just at some points when I was like, okay, I'm done with listening now, and it kept going, and I was like, hey, like I can still stay here. And I'm also just very impressed with Tim for doing this on a video where like you really let yourself go into a process and move your body and things like this. So if you're listening on the audio, highly recommend checking the video aspect as well, like on YouTube.
Yeah,
Feel a bit better.
it's something. Thank you, Ashley. It's something I value so much in you is your honesty. And it's like, you could go and be like, do a fantastic summary of this whole process in this whole podcast episode and be like, yeah, amazing. I felt so much love for Tim. And everybody would be like, yeah, like a good story, what a hero's journey. They went into the darkness, they came into the light. And now like Ashley's done with her process as well. But it's not how things go. And it's in those moments when there's expectations in the space, when it's hardest to stay with your truth. And it's something I really appreciate about you too, that you just stay with it. And yeah, maybe like if we had 3 hours, we'd go into the next process, and Angelo would go into one with you, and like I would bring in stuff as well. But I just I just love honesty. It feels really good.
I was scared that Angelo was just going to be at some point like, Ashley, what is going on over there? And it's like, which he would have done if we were in the room together, because you can feel it.
I was feeling that in the beginning. I was almost like there was two roads, and one was the involve Ashley road, and the other was not involve Ashley road, and I took the not involve Ashley road. So I definitely picked up on something there.
Yes. Okay, guys, I think this is a great end of this episode. There was so much in there. I want to rewatch it again because so much wisdom in there. In the beginning, the more like the knowledge part, and then really going into the process. I love that we had both of those things, and we even met this entity and were able to go with it like live. And I remembered like being in the creators game again. I remember how it was. Like I was sensing he did something wrong from the very beginning. And in the creators game, I probably would have like shouted out and be like, he did something wrong. He's guilty. He's running away. He made a contract. Like, what was it? What was it? And this time it was a bit slower, but I think it's good. And it gives people an impression of how powerful the creators game is. And imagine this times a million in a group of people. Everybody's open. Come to Kopanga and do the creators game with Angelo. Or you can do you offer sessions as well online, right? So wherever you are, you can get in touch with this powerful energy, and I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Thank you, Angelo.
Thank you, Angelo.
I want just to say something to Ashley about the fear. Then Angelo bring her to process and see something, and I think your fear is true as Angelo before 2 weeks. Before 2 weeks, he will see things in you and teasing you until you go to process. But I had a strong process around 10 days ago where one of my students brought me with love to a process where I saw myself as I was taking the coat of Angelo, and after behind this coat, it was the coat of devil. And this devil was so powerful, and he was splitting himself in 1,000, and he was sending 1,000 of himself to each person for them to react to Angelo, for Angelo can continue to play with them. So I saw this powerful devil then teasing people to continue to play. And one moment I took also this coat of this powerful devil and went to. So I'm much more soft because I take out this role of the powerful devil also. So how much we play games with ourselves, I don't know. It's huge what we play with ourselves. So in taking the coats, then we are playing with ourselves you can have many lifetimes in just one lifetime. So you can, yeah. So thank you also for saying that. Thank you so much to allow me to share my gifts. My gift is not Angelo, is above, and Angelo learning from this in letting be and letting guide it. And you could see then we start with a sentence, I just can rest if I'm tired. It didn't came from any kind of analysis. My brain say, I don't agree with that, but I say it, and let's experiment this. So this is why who speak when Angelo speak, I don't know. So, but what I see is in this kind of security and family, things can happen where we can learn from ourselves and from each other's. So thank you so much for this experience.
Yes.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Much
Angelo.
love. See you in the next episode.